Hello, good evening, and welcome back. We got a 2-for-1 special this evening, with a second video being posted after this one, about poor white teenagers in Britain left behind when it comes to university admissions. But first, let's keep it topical with COVID lockdown fines, and this being slightly different as it is Met Police. And you might remember from about a week ago, with police officers fined £200 for a cafe meeting. This was 9 Met Police. And of course, with cafes and restaurants, they have to stay closed, but unless they're offering a takeaway service, in which case that's okay. But there was one passerby walking by the Chef House Kitchen Cafe, Greenwich, on 9th of January. Saw a load of patrol cars out the front. I thought, hang on a minute. Snitches get rewards, don't they? According to Cuomo from New York. But at the very least, this got to be the right thing to do. And better yet, of course, if the police are supposed to be enforcing this, then how are they going to be enforcing a rule that they're breaking themselves? Either you've got some very serious oath breakers, or you've got police that do not support the law, and therefore they will not enforce it, which is very, very good news. So you kind of put in a difficult situation with this, to go, well, hey, I don't want to fuck things up for people, and I do not think there should be a law, in which case I don't wish to report them. However, they are the police, so I do want to show that the police don't want to enforce this either, but of course I don't want to get people in trouble. And it puts you in a very, very difficult situation, because, of course, then what you would want to do is to kind of have photos showing, police cars out the front, and then the individuals are inside, but without identifying who the individuals are eating there. Of course, if it comes out that they're enforcing the lockdown laws, then by all means expose them as hypocrites. No doubt about that. Definitely do it. And is that the point at which we've gotten to? Because the haircut lockdown breach is just another example of that. But this time, instead of 9, it was a few dozen that were involved there. 32, I believe, that they mentioned. That, it's one of those things where you don't want to get people in trouble, but you're presuming that the police officers are going to enforce the law, in which case you're kind of calling out their hypocrisy. That if they're enforcing the law, then they're breaking the law and they're hypocritical straight away, even if those individual officers do not support enforcing this law and do not wish to get you in trouble for it. But, of course, without speaking to the police officers and understanding where they come from, you do not know if they're wishing to be hypocritical and thinking that it's going to be a two-tier justice system for them and for you, or if they do not wish to enforce such horrific authoritarian laws that would ordinarily be unconstitutional, but it seems the Magna Carta doesn't really hold up anymore. So that's the question of the video, really, to you, is it worth exposing these police officers? Because, of course, then you're going to make it less likely for other police officers to break COVID lockdown rules, even if they don't support them, and therefore, we'll probably get them to be more antagonistic towards the rest of us, thinking, well, hey, if members of the public are going to report us, then that means that we have to escalate in response and make sure that we fine every single one of them. So is it really a no-win situation? But then on the flip side, are you then suggesting that the police have to follow a different set of laws than the rest of us? In which case, which side of the issue do you come down on? Or do you find that there's a simpler test to do it without resorting to blackmail of just, taking the photos and then walking in, and then what's the point there? That you see police officers getting their hair cut or eating at a cafe, and then you walk in, of course, mask in hand or mask in pocket, and then just go about your business as an ordinary citizen. And if the police decide to call you out on it, do you then say, well, then what are you doing? This seems a bit ridiculous. But then, of course, they would say that you're committing the crime first, and you would get in trouble as well. And are you willing to take that risk? So, unfortunately, I don't have an answer that's the best that I've got, is to just walk in and see if you can continue doing what you intend to do, and in which case win over the police officers and kind of do some investigative journalism in seeing how many others are like-minded like them that they do not wish to enforce these rules. In which case you can help to foster and encourage that mindset that these laws do not need to be enforced, and the rest of us can live a happier, freer life, and the police officers can actually do their jobs in terms of keeping us safe from stabbings and shootings and violent assaults. That is what they would be focusing their time on. But that's the closest I have an answer to myself, but I would really love to see this hashed out in the comment section below, as how do you deal with a situation like that? Because of course you've got to understand tactics instead of just pushing a message, because otherwise they'll be too defensive and escalate in retaliation. So how do you point it out in a gentle way that wins them over, instead of gets them to try and throw the book at you as much as they can, because you're arguably breaking lockdown rules as well? That's what I'd like to see discussed down below, so please do. I look forward to reading what you guys have to say. But that's it for me for now. But stick around, and in a few minutes we'll be talking about how quotas have backfired, and yet it seems the politics of quotas is going to continue on in order to actually try to benefit Indigenous Britons. So until next time, have a good one.